Have you ever noticed? There are people who rarely speak. They sit there quiet, almost invisible. But the moment they do speak, even just a single short sentence, everyone around them leans in and listens. Why is that? Could it be that their silence is what gives their words so much weight? Here's the question. Why is silence sometimes more powerful than words? We're taught to believe we have to speak more, argue more, prove our point to make an impact. But if you look closer, you'll see something surprising. Silence itself is a hidden power, one that can transform your life. In this video, we'll explore 12 crucial moments where silence isn't just the safe choice. It's the ultimate strategy, a way to build wisdom, a way to master your emotions, a way to create lasting influence. The Stoics, an ancient school of philosophy, understood this thousands of years ago. To them, silence was never passive. It was a tool, an art of living, a shield that protects you from impulse, and a foundation that prepares you to act at the right time in the right way. Think of it like martial arts. Your words are the strike. Your silence is the stance. And the one who knows when to strike and when to hold back is the one who holds true power. So let me ask you, are you ready to discover the hidden strength of silence? Let's start with the most familiar moment of all, when anger rises. We've all been there. A careless word, an unfair action, even something small. And suddenly the fire inside us explodes. And too often in that heat, words slip out faster than reason can catch them. Words we regret the moment the anger fades. Anger is powerful, but it's destructive. It can fracture a close relationship. It can turn a simple conversation into a battlefield. And most of all, it robs us of our inner peace. So how do we keep our reason from being swept away by rage? The answer is silence. The Stoics taught this lesson long ago. Silence is the strongest medicine for anger. Not suppression, not pretending you don't care, but a pause to breathe, a pause to watch your emotions, a pause to let reason return before you respond. Remember, this one sentence spoken in anger can leave a scar that never heals. But one moment of silence can save an entire relationship. That is not weakness. It is the highest form of emotional intelligence. So next time you feel the fire rising, stop. Be silent. Because in that silence, you are giving yourself the greatest gift of all, self-control. And in doing so, you don't just protect others. You protect yourself. After anger, another challenge often makes us lose control. Being insulted. Our instinct strike back. Fire words for words. Prove we're not weak. But sometimes, silence in the face of insult carries more strength than any reply ever could. This is part 2, where we discover how silence can turn insult into a training ground for resilience and emotional maturity. Because let's be honest, none of us escape insults in life. A cruel remark, a look of disdain, even a mean joke. Each one can cut deep. And our natural response to fight back, to lash out, to prove ourselves. But pause for a moment. Ask yourself, does fighting back truly bring freedom, or does it only deepen the wound, making us mirror the very person who insulted us? Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "If someone offends you, it's because your mind has consented. An insult only has power if you invite it in. They can say anything, but you decide whether those words enter your soul." Think of Gandhi. He faced endless ridicule, humiliation, even violence. Yet he never struck back with violence. He chose silence, patience, peace. and that silence made the whole world listen. Silence in the face of insult is not weakness. It is inner strength at its highest form. It disarms the other person because they can't drag you into their small game. So next time someone insults you, pause, smile, stay silent. Because in that moment of silence, you prove something greater, that you are bigger, stronger, and freer than any insult thrown your way. After anger, after insult, we now face a subtler test, unfair criticism. This is where the instinct to react is at its strongest. But sometimes silence becomes the mirror of your dignity, your confidence, your inner wisdom. No one likes being criticized, especially when it's unfair, when it's false, when it comes from people who don't even see the effort you've put in. Your first impulse: defend yourself, argue, attack back. But ask yourself, does that really make you stronger? Or does it just steal your peace and leave your spirit restless? Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "It's not the events that disturb us, but our judgment of them." That means criticism has no power to define your worth. The only thing that matters is how you choose to respond. Silence in the face of unfair criticism is not surrender. It's strength. It's proof that you trust yourself enough not to rush into words. In silence, you buy yourself time. Time to reflect, to notice if there's even a grain of truth you can learn from. And for the rest, the false, the petty, the malicious, you let it drift away like the wind. Picture this. You're in a meeting. Someone criticizes you unfairly. One person snaps back, turning the room tense. Another stays calm, stays silent, and lets their results speak louder than any defense. Who do you think earns more respect? Silence in the face of unfair criticism is how you guard your dignity. It shows you're not dragged down by anger, but lifted up by wisdom and peace, and that is true strength. After unfair criticism comes an even subtler test provocation, the sarcastic remark, the intentional jab, the little push designed to knock you off balance. Your instinct fire back. Prove you're not weak. Show you can fight. But here's the truth. The moment you react, you've already stepped into their trap. You've handed them the power. They control your emotions, your actions, even your energy. And in the end, you lose your inner peace. Stoic philosophy reminds us silence is the shield that guards your energy. It's not avoidance. It's a conscious choice not to be dragged into someone else's small game. It's how you keep control. It's how you stay the master of yourself. Picture this: someone tries to provoke you in front of a crowd. A hasty reaction only fuels the drama. But silence paired with a calm smile, steady composure, suddenly flips the script. You're no longer the target. You're the mirror. And they're left exposed, unsettled, powerless. Silence in the face of provocation doesn't make you weak. It shows strength. It shows resilience. It shows unshakable inner power. Because you don't need to prove yourself with words. Your self-control proves it for you. So next time someone tries to provoke you, remember this. Not reacting doesn't mean losing. It's the greatest victory of all, victory over yourself. We've all been there. An argument at home. A heated debate at work. In those moments, the instinct is always the same. Fire back. Defend yourself. Prove you're right. But the more we talk, the hotter the flames grow, and the further we drift from true understanding. So is there another way, a way to stay calm, to turn conflict into connection? The answer lies in silence. In conflict, the first impulse is to argue, to raise your voice, to push your point harder. But think about it. Have you noticed the louder the voices get, the greater the distance becomes? And rarely does it end in understanding. More often, it ends in hurt. Stoic philosophy teaches us a different choice silence. Not the silence of giving up, but the silence of a pause. A pause to breathe, to listen, to let emotions settle before the conversation moves forward. Picture this: a meeting filled with tension. Everyone speaking, no one listening. But you choose silence. You wait. You let others fully express themselves. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts. Your silence creates space, and in that space, understanding has a chance to grow. Silence in conflict doesn't take away your voice. It gives you a greater power, the power to listen. And when you truly listen, you can discover common ground. You can open the door to solutions instead of stalemates. So next time you feel yourself pulled into an argument, try this stop. Be silent. Because sometimes the answer isn't in saying more. It's in listening deeper. And in that silence, conflict can transform into understanding. We've just talked about silence in conflict. But there's another situation, one you face every single day. It's when you're simply listening to someone else. Here's the truth. Most of the time, we're not really listening. While the other person is speaking, we're already preparing our reply, thinking of how to argue, how to share our own story, how to jump in at just the right moment. And in that instant, we're no longer fully present with the person in front of us. But people don't just want to be heard. They want to feel listened to, deeply, truly, completely. And silence, that simple, intentional silence, might just be the greatest gift you can give. Because silence here isn't empty. It's presence. It's eye contact. It's a small nod that says, "I'm here. I hear you. I see you." Think back for a moment. How many times have you felt grateful to someone simply because they listened without interrupting? No advice, no quick answers, just listening. And in that moment, didn't you feel valued, respected, understood? That is the power of silence in listening. The Stoics remind us silence isn't only for self-control, it's also for opening our hearts to others. When you listen in silence, you're not just hearing words, you're receiving emotions, stories, the truth behind the words. So next time you're in a conversation, pause the response forming in your mind. Choose silence. Be fully present. Because sometimes what someone needs most isn't your advice. It's your quiet, attentive heart. We've talked about silence in conflict. We've talked about silence in listening. Now we step into a more subtle challenge facing ignorance. In life, you will encounter it: false beliefs, blind opinions, arguments that go nowhere. And what's our instinct? To argue, to prove we're right, to set the record straight. But here's the real question. Does it ever work? How many debates have actually changed someone's mind, and how many just left you drained while the other person clung even tighter to their mistake? This is where silence becomes wisdom, not weakness. Wisdom. Silence says, "I choose my battles. I refuse to waste my energy here." When you remain quiet, you don't feed ignorance. You let it collapse under its own weight. Think of Galileo. He declared that the earth revolved around the sun. The world resisted. He didn't argue with the crowd. He let time and truth do the talking. And history proved him right. Everyday life works the same way. When you choose silence in the face of ignorance, you preserve your energy for what really matters. Your silence may even plant a seed of doubt, forcing the other person to reflect, because there's no resistance for them to push against. So next time you face a blind opinion or a baseless claim, pause. Ask yourself, will this debate bring change or only steal my peace? If the answer is no, choose silence. Because in that silence you show wisdom, you show vision, you show mastery over yourself. Perhaps one of the hardest, most bitter challenges any of us can face is being falsely accused. When someone assigns to you something you never did, when the truth is twisted, when lies spread like wildfire. In that moment, every instinct in you screams, defend yourself, fight back, prove them wrong. But is that truly the wisest move? Or is there a greater strength in silence? At some point in life, all of us have been misunderstood, maybe even slandered. And when it happens, the natural reaction is to explain, to justify, to clear your name immediately. But stop and ask yourself, does rushing to defend really bring clarity? Or does it just create more noise, more confusion, more doubt? Stoic philosophy reminds us truth doesn't need to shout. It just needs time. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It's not what others say about you that matters, but what you truly are. A false accusation does not define you. Your actions, your character, that's the real evidence." Picture this: someone is falsely accused at work. If they react in haste, their words may be twisted, raising even more suspicion. But if they choose silence, if they keep showing up with integrity, keep doing their work with consistency, time itself will reveal the truth. The lie will fade like smoke in the wind. Silence here is not weakness, it's strength. The strength of confidence, the deep belief that truth will outlast every rumor. It's protection too, shielding you from reckless words that could do lasting harm. So next time you're falsely accused, pause, breathe, and let your silence together with your consistent actions become the loudest answer of all. Life never runs out of challenges. There will be times you stumble, hit a wall, or feel like the whole world is against you. And the instinct to complain, to blame, to look for someone or something to point the finger at. But here's the truth: in those very moments, silence can become your greatest strength. Silence allows you to pause, to look inward, to focus on the one thing you can truly control: yourself. None of us are spared from hardship. It could be a setback at work, a family crisis, or a dream that falls apart. And when that happens, the natural reaction is to vent, to complain, to curse your circumstances, or even yourself. But let me ask you, do those complaints ever solve the problem, or do they just drain you even further? Stoic philosophy offers a powerful reminder: focus on what you can control. Silence in the face of hardship doesn't mean surrendering. It means creating space to ask yourself, what's in my hands right now? What can I actually change? That quiet creates room for wisdom, for resilience, for action. Remember, strong people aren't the ones who avoid storms. They're the ones who stay calm in the middle of them. Think of Thomas Edison. He failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. He didn't waste time complaining. He stayed silent. He studied. He tried again. And that persistence lit up the world. Silence in hardship is not weakness. It's the pause that gathers your strength. It's the moment you stop wasting energy on what you can't change and redirect it toward what you can. So next time life knocks you down, resist the urge to complain. Choose silence. Because in that silence, you'll find clarity. You'll find resilience. And you'll find the strength to rise and keep moving forward. There are moments in life that shatter the heart. Moments when we're forced to face loss, losing a loved one, losing a relationship, losing a dream we once held close. And in those moments, no words can fill the emptiness. That's when silence steps in, not as a void, but as a space to breathe, to accept, to begin the journey of healing. Perhaps nothing cuts deeper into the human spirit than loss. The loss of someone dear, the end of a bond you thought would last forever, the collapse of a dream you've built your life around. And in those moments, words, no matter how sincere, often fall short. Nothing spoken can close that gap, but silence can. Not the silence of denial, but the silence that lets you feel. The silence that allows you to sit with your pain instead of running from it. It's in that stillness that acceptance begins to form. It's there you allow the grief to flow through you rather than against you. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once wrote, "The day we fear is the day we step into eternity." A reminder that loss is not only an ending, it is a reminder of life's limits. And within those limits, we discover a deeper reason to cherish the present. Remember, this silence in loss does not mean loneliness. It's the breath that steadies you, the pause that helps your heart find balance again. You might cry. You might write in a journal. You might sit in quiet with someone you trust. What matters is that your heart is given the time to heal at its own pace. And slowly in that silence, something shifts. You begin to see that loss does not take everything. It opens the door to new perspectives. It deepens your gratitude. And it awakens a strength inside you, one you may have never known was there. And after anger, after insult, after injustice, we step into a different territory, quieter, but no less challenging, the journey of personal growth. Here, silence is no longer a shield against the outside world. It becomes a space within, a mirror for the soul, a chance to reconnect with your core values, and to discover the path that truly belongs to you. Have you ever asked yourself, who am I? What do I really want in this life? It sounds simple, doesn't it? But in a noisy, restless world, how often do we give ourselves the silence to hear the answer? The truth is, life today moves fast. Notifications, deadlines, everyone busy. And in that busyness, we so easily lose ourselves. That's when silence becomes essential. It's not disconnection, it's deeper connection. When you sit down, breathe, and let the noise fade, you finally begin to hear what matters most, the voice within. Stoic philosophy reminds us we can't control the outside world, but we can always turn inward. In silence, you can reflect what values are guiding me, what goals are worth pursuing, what illusions can I finally let go of? Imagine this 10 minutes a day. No talking, no distractions, just writing down your truest thoughts. Over time, the picture becomes clearer. You stop chasing comparisons. You begin to see your own road, the one aligned with your values, your purpose, your long-term vision. And in that silence, you uncover a truth. Personal growth is not about doing more. It's about knowing yourself more deeply. Because silence, true intentional silence, leads you to wisdom, to clarity, to a life that feels whole. And now we arrive at the final moment, one of the most important crossroads of life, when you must make a big decision. In those moments, silence is not just a pause. It is your compass. It helps you hear yourself in the middle of all the noise outside. Because sometimes in that stillness, you discover the path that was meant for you. Life will place you at crossroads. A new job, or the one you have now? To invest or to step back? To marry to leave or to start over in a new place? These choices don't just shape today. They can alter your entire future. But the real pressure rarely comes from the decision itself. It comes from the noise. One voice pushing you to act fast, another warning you of risk, society comparing, judging, expecting. And in the chaos, we panic. We rush. We choose too quickly just to escape the pressure. That's why silence becomes your guide. Seneca once said, "No one can truly govern themselves if they're always swept away by the crowd." When you stop, when you step into silence, you create space to think, to weigh the pros and cons, to observe with clarity, and most importantly, to ask, does this path align with my values? With my long-term vision for life? Never forget, impulsive emotions blur reason. Anger, fear, even excitement can cloud judgment. Wise decisions are rarely born in the heat of the moment. They're born in quiet reflection. Silence before a decision doesn't just prevent mistakes. It gives you long-term vision, so that when you step forward, it's not from panic, but from clarity, confidence, and freedom. After everything we've explored, here's the truth. Silence is never empty. It's not the absence of words. It is a force, a tool that changes how you see the world and how the world sees you. When you master silence, your words, when you finally choose to speak, carry 10 times the weight. People stop. They listen. They respect you, because your stillness sparks reflection within them. That is the hidden power of those unafraid of silence. In today's world, everyone wants to talk. Everyone wants to be heard. But the truly confident, the truly unshakable, are those at ease with silence. They don't rush to prove themselves. They let their actions, their character, and their presence speak louder than words. And that's why others turn to them for wisdom. Psychologist Barbara Markway, PhD, once said, "When you cultivate inner confidence, you quiet the voice of doubt inside. And in turn, the world begins to see your true inner strength reflected on the outside." This is the result of practicing silence. You don't just change how you communicate, you change how people perceive you. So I invite you start today. Choose silence instead of a hasty reaction. Pause, listen more, reflect deeper, and then share your experience with us in the comments below. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel to keep walking this path toward wisdom and inner strength. Because sometimes, the most powerful voice of all is silence.